Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we make sense of the money world, because sometimes even the most important financial news sounds like it's written in a secret code. And today we're about to crack the code on VisionWave Holdings and their latest filing. It might seem like just another government form, but trust me, there are some juicy details in here about who's joining the team and how they plan to get paid, so stick around as we decode this important update. And before we dive in, if you love getting straightforward insights into company filings, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. We also have a vibrant Discord server linked in the description below where we discuss all things finance, so come hang out with us. So VisionWave Holdings is telling us that on September 9, 2025, something important happened. And this report is all about that. It's like them giving us a heads up about a change in their leadership crew and how they're going to be compensated, which is always interesting to see. This is VisionWave Holdings. If you're not familiar with them, they're essentially a company that's navigating the business world. And like many companies, they're always looking to bring in fresh talent and expertise to guide them. Here we see they're incorporated in Delaware, which is a common place for companies to set up shop. And they've got their specific identification numbers here that helps keep track of them officially in the corporate world. This is their main office location, but honestly, for what we care about today, these address details aren't the main story. And their phone number is listed, but again, not the most thrilling part of this filing. Now, this is interesting. They're telling us about their common stock, which trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol VW. It means you can actually buy a piece of this company if you want to. It's like owning a tiny slice of the pie. They also have these things called redeemable warrants. They're like options that give people the right to buy their stock at a specific price of $11.50. This can be a way for companies to raise money or reward people. Okay, this next part is a check mark that tells us something important. VisionWave Holdings is identifying itself as an emerging growth company. If you're not familiar with that term, it basically means they're a younger company that hasn't hit all the big company milestones yet, so they get to follow some slightly different and often more relaxed rules when it comes to reporting and compliance, which can be a big advantage for them as they grow. Alright, so the main event, the meat of this filing, is all about changes in their leadership team and how these new leaders will be compensated. This is where the real story lies, because who runs the company and how they're paid tells you a lot about the company's direction and its values. On September 9th, the company's board of directors, the big bosses of the company, gave the green light to some new agreements with three individuals, Eric Schuss, Chuck Hansen, and Haggai Ravid. These individuals are coming on board to serve as independent directors. Now, an independent director is someone who isn't part of the day-to-day operations. They're there to provide an outside perspective and make sure the company is being run properly and ethically. It's like having a coach who isn't playing the game but gives expert advice. So what are these new directors getting paid for their valuable guidance? Well, each independent director is going to receive an annual cash retainer of $300 and $600. This means they get paid a set amount each year, and it's paid out quarterly, so that's $900 every 3 months for their general service on the board. But wait, there's more. If they chair specific committees, they get extra cash. The audit committee chair gets an additional $1,000. The compensation committee chair gets $5,000, and the governance committee chair also 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 gets $5,000. And the governance committee chair also gets $5,000, and the governance committee chair also gets $5,000. This is pretty standard practice, as these committee roles come with extra responsibility and focus an additional $1,000. The compensation committee chair gets $5,000, and the governance committee chair also gets $5,000. This is pretty standard practice, as these committee roles come with extra responsibility. Beyond the cash, they're also getting an annual equity grant, which means they're getting stock in the company. This stock is valued at $600 on the day it's granted, and it's given out under their 2024 Omnibus Equity Incentive Plan, which sounds fancy, but it's just the plan they use to give out stock to employees and directors. The stock they receive is restricted, meaning they can't just sell it immediately. It has to vest, which means they have to wait before they fully own it. And in this case, it vests, which means they have to wait before they fully own it. And in this case, it vests, which means they have to wait before they fully own it. And in this case, it vests, which means they have to wait before they fully own it. And in this case, it vests, which means they have to wait before they fully own it. And in this case, it vests, which means they have to wait before they fully own it. And in this case, it vests, which means they have to wait before they fully own it. And in this case, it vests, which means they totally own it. After 1 year of service, this is a smart way to align the director's interests with the company's long-term success. So as a direct result of these new arrangements, the company is issuing a total of 520,455 shares of its common stock to these 3 new directors for their service throughout 2025. This means they're getting a direct ownership stake in the company, which is a really strong incentive for them to perform well. These agreements also have the usual clauses you'd expect, things like indemnification, meaning the company will protect them from certain liabilities, confidentiality to keep company secrets safe, and a commitment to follow all laws and company rules, importantly. These agreements are for an initial term of 1 year, but they can be renewed if everyone agrees or if the shareholders vote to keep them on too. Now, here's another layer to the story. It seems that for some of this work, especially the work done before a significant event called the business combination, with Bannex Acquisition Corp, or Bannex for short, they're also bringing in compensation agreements for Mr. Schuss and 2 other individuals who were previously directors at Bannex, Mr. Schuss, and these others were independent directors at Bannex from October 2022 until July 2025. So this compensation addresses their past service. Under this specific compensation agreement, effective September 9th, Mr. Schuss is set to receive a one-time payment of $1,500 LARS. This payment can be in cash and fully vested company stock, or a mix of both. The choice is entirely his. This is a significant lump sum, and the fact that he gets to choose how he receives it gives him a lot of flexibility. And we know exactly what Mr. Schuss chose. He's opted to receive 1650.56 shares of VisionWave's common stock. And this was calculated based on the stock's closing price of 11.24 cents on September 8th. This means he's taking a portion of his compensation in the form of company ownership, tying his reward directly to the company's stock performance. These shares are fully vested, meaning he owns them immediately, but there are some rules he has to follow before he can sell them. These are called resale restrictions under Rule 144 of the Securities Act, an important piece of US securities law. This just means there are some procedural steps before he can freely trade them. The payment or share issuance will happen within 10 business days after he makes his choice, or if he doesn't choose by then, he automatically gets cash. And finally, they mentioned that this description is just a summary and the actual detailed agreements are attached to this filing. So if you wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of all the legal jargon, you'd have to look at those linked documents. Here they're listing the exhibits, which are the actual documents that back up what they've said. This is Exhibit 10, Bon Fon, the form of independent director engagement agreement. So this is one of the core documents outlining the terms for the new directors. And this is Exhibit 10 through the form of compensation agreement for those former Bannex directors. This is the document detailing the payment arrangements for Mr. Schuss and the others for their prior service. And 104 is simply the cover page in a special format for electronic data, which is pretty standard for these filings now. This report is dated September 12, 2025, meaning it was filed a few days after the decisions were made on September 9th, as we saw earlier. And finally, the signature block shows that Noam Koenig, the Chief Executive Officer of VisionWave Holdings, has officially signed off on this report, confirming that everything stated is accurate to the best of his knowledge. So what does all of this mean for VisionWave Holdings? Well, they're bringing in experienced directors and compensating them in a way that aligns their interests with the company's success. The cash retainers and committee chair bonuses provide immediate compensation, while the stock grants mean these directors have a vested interest in the company's future prospects and is willing to bet on it. Additionally, the company's status as an emerging growth company means they have some flexibility in how they operate, which can be beneficial for a company in its growth phase. And they're the former Bannex directors, addresses past service and ensures fair treatment as the company moves forward from its business combination with Bannex. The fact that Mr. Schuss chose stock over cash for a significant portion of his compensation is a good sign. It suggests he believes in the company's future prospects and is willing to bet on it. Additionally, the company's status as an emerging growth company means they have some flexibility in how they operate, which can be beneficial for a company in its growth phase. However, it's also important to remember that bringing on consultants or directors can add to operating costs, though the structure here, paying for committees and offering stock incentives, is fairly standard and meant to incentivize performance rather than just being a fixed expense. The success of these new directors will ultimately depend on their ability to provide strategic guidance and oversight, which will be reflected in the company's future performance. The choice by Mr. Schuss to take shares also means that as the company grows and its stock price rises, his personal wealth increases in tandem. This is a classic win-win scenario when it works out. Overall, VisionWave Holdings is making moves to strengthen its board and compensate its key personnel in a way that encourages long-term value creation. The details of these agreements show a clear strategy for director compensation and a recognition of past contributions. The real test will be how these new directors contribute to the company's strategic direction and its ultimate success in the market. Alright, that's our breakdown of VisionWave Holdings' latest filing. What's your take on these new director appointments and their compensation packages? Do you think aligning director pay with stock performance is the best strategy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this deep dive valuable, do us a favor and hit that like button. Subscribing is also a great way to keep supporting us and ensuring you don't miss out on future analyses. And don't forget to join our Discord community to keep the conversation going and connect with fellow finance enthusiasts. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Corporate Dakota.